Hi everyone.
Hello,
Hello.
thank you for joining us today. Well, today we will learn about all about ABP Suite. Alper will be your guide to talk about how to install it, how to create solutions using ABP Suite, and you will see the ABP Suite's user interface. And then Alper will create a sample application to demonstrate the CRUD page generation, and then we will answer your questions.
Hey, thank you,
Thank
Bige.
you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and I hope you are doing well. I'm Alper from the ABP development team. Today, I will talk about ABP Suite and how it helps your development to get faster. Also, if you have any questions during the talk, you can write them to the chat and I will try to answer them in the end. Today, we will talk about what's ABP Framework and what it provides us. And then I will show you some benefits of ABP Commercial, and we will create a CRUD page application with ABP Suite with one-to-many options, many-to-many options. So CRUD page generally means a page consists of some basic operations like create, read, update, and delete. Uh, ABP Framework is an open source, microservice compliant web framework on top of ASP.NET Core. It's a modular web application framework, so each module can be a separate microservice application with its own database. It's a very active repository with almost 8K stars, and it's set to be a major framework. It started in 2016 and 126 releases have been published until today. The ABP framework simplifies and automates cross-cutting concerns and common non-functional requirements like exception handling, validation, authorization, localization, caching, dependency injection, and many more. A whole bunch of best practices is pre-implemented. You start providing business value for your customer immediately right after you download the project. And it's a full stack developer experience. It helps you to skip all the hassle to kickstart the project. And you start coding your business logic in the first day, which is amazing. It provides to use application templates. These are Visual Studio solutions and module solutions with the most famous tools are integrated. You can create your own solution based on different UI frameworks and database providers. MVC, Angular, Blazor. Blazor Server and Blazor WebAssembly can be used for the UI. And Entity Framework Core, MongoDB, or Dapper can be used for the database provider. ABP has a very rich documentation. The documentation is being hosted on GitHub and it's open source as well. And the documentation website is also built with ABP Framework. And this module is called VoloDocs. It's also free on Docs ABP.io. You can go and download and create your own documentation website with VoloDocs. We also implemented our entire websites with ABP. We are using it before we release a stable version, so we can foresee the potential issues with the upcoming versions. There is also a commercial version of ABP for companies and individual developers. It's called ABP Commercial. It's built on top of the ABP framework. So it has all the features of the free ABP, plus it provides you professional themes, uh, paid modules, microservice template, premium support. The paid modules are like audit logging, CMS kit, forms, CMS module where you can send SMSs, identity server, management UI, payment module for your SaaS projects, and chat module to be able to chat in your website, like a file management module where you can upload, download, your internal files like Google Drive. Language management to add new languages or localize the existing languages in your website. Lastly, ABP Commercial offers ABP Suite, which is a rapid application development tool for ABP. And today's topic is ABP Suite. So it's a CRUD tool which allows you to visually build web applications in a matter of minutes. It's a .NET global tool that can be installed from the command line. ABP Suite is built with .NET Core and it's cross-platform. It runs as a web application on your local computer. You can run it on Windows, Mac, or Linux. ABP Suite allows you to easily create CRUD pages. You just need to define your entity and its properties. Let the rest ABP Suite for you. It generates all the necessary code for your CRUD page in a few seconds. It supports Angular, MVC, and Blazor user interfaces. It doesn't generate magic files that work on runtime. ABP Suite generates the source code for entity, repository, application services, code-first migrations, JavaScript, TypeScript, and Razor pages. ABP Suite also generates the code according to the best practices of software development. So you don't have to worry about the quality of the output code. Since you have the source code, the generated source code, you can easily modify the source and inject your custom code to the generated one. So before installing ABP Suite, you need to first install the ABP CLI. You can install the ABP CLI with .NET Tool install -g vola ABP CLI by writing this command to your terminal. And it will be a global .NET tool. And then you will write ABP Suite install. This will install the latest stable version of ABP. And it's very easy to start the application. You just write ABP Suite to your command line. I will install it. I have already installed it to my computer, the latest version 5.2.1. And I'm going to show you the user interface. First, we will explore the user interface. Then we will create a couple of CRUD pages. And I'm going to show you what kind of pages we are going to build. So this is the data model of our entity relationship that we are going to create today. The author entity will have a string field, name, and birth date as date time, and an active status. This will be Boolean. And then I'm going to create the book entity. It will have string int and float properties. And book will depend on author with one-to-many relationship. In the one-to-many relationship, one record in a table can be associated with one or more records in another table. And lastly, we will create the reader entity. This will be connected to the book entity with many-to-many relationship. And it will have name, surname, email, and gender fields. So here, the reader will have a custom enum as well. So users can select the items from this enum values. So in the end, we will be able to pick an author when creating a book entity and select multiple books when creating a reader entity. I'm going to show you the ABP Suite, and then we will try to implement this application. So I opened a new command line, and I'm writing ABP Suite to start it. So it will open up in your web browser, the default web browser with localhost 3000 port. And also, this is the web server that runs on your local computer. So as this is a web application, it will run on any machine. Let's create a new solution for our data model. But first, I'm going to show you the ABP Suite user interface. You can create a new solution, or if you have created a solution before with ABP CLI, you can add it to your solution. Sometimes a team member from your team might have already built a solution, and you will need to add it to your local computer. I'm going to create, and we will have some other menu items. Then I will show you the user interface in details. Let's create our application. So this is the model dialog of the creating new solution window. And we will have several items here to start with. These are template types. So application template, this is the one that we are going to start with. The single layer is minimal. There is one layer in this web application. It's very easy to start and very simple to understand, but it has only one layer. I think we have explained it in our previous session. And microservice template, this is a very complex and it's suitable for large scale applications. And if you want to create sub-modules to your application or to your microservice, you will start with the module template. So we are going to start with application today. And our project name will be Acme Bookstore. Acme is our company name and Bookstore is our project name. And I'm going to provide a local path for creating this project. This is my local folder where the new project will be created in. There are different UI frameworks, MVC, Angular, Blazor. We are going to start with MVC. I will not have a need for mobile application, so I'm skipping it. We will have Entity Framework Core. I will use SQL Server, Microsoft SQL Server for this project. And let's create it. While it's creating, I will show you the project here. It's also waiting a little more in this step. The reason is it already downloaded the project here. So it takes at least 3 or 4 seconds. But here in this step, it's running yarn to restore the client packages because the client packages are not delivered with the template. And now we have our project here. It's created. This is the landing page for documentation, support, and other helper links. And I'm going to open up ABP Suite again. Yes. So it's successfully created in the provided directory. I'm going to open it. Now let's check out what we have here. This is the CRUD page generator, the major feature of ABP Suite. You will see that some metadata requires for my entity, and I'm going to enter my properties for my CRUD page and navigations for relationship, for one-to-one or one-to-many relationship. And we have a modules section here. These modules, some of these modules are already pre-installed to my Visual Studio application. And these are marked as installed label here. And some of them are not installed, like payment module doesn't come out of the box. So if you need a payment module, you just need to add it with the package, NuGet package reference, or you can add it as project reference. So this will come with the source code. Or if you need the source code to your local computer, you can download it by clicking source code button here and some links to documentation. There are also free modules for ABP Framework. You can also download and install these modules to your application as well. Or if you want to create your module, an empty module, you can create your module inside ABP Suite. Then it will add it to your, it will add this new module to your Visual Studio solution. So you don't need to make the references. And also there is a
Alper, we have a question. Like, can you customize the templates for basic change on the Suite UI? I think this is what you are talking about now.
Yeah, I was just coming to that point. First, I am building the Visual Studio solution to see the templates. After building my solution, you will see that there are some templates that Suite is using, and whenever I modify these templates, the new CRUD page will be generated from the modified versions. So yes, there is this feature to customize the templates. If you have any other questions while building the application, I can answer it. So let's open the Visual Studio solution. Okay. Now here we have the templates. Let's check out JavaScript, this one. So this is a creation of a data table in index.js. So if you add your custom code here, then Suite will also create this new index.js according to the latest changes.
Okay, Alper, is that change are based on solution or global in your computer?
These changes are project level changes. So it will save it to your solutions directory.
So different solutions can have different templates.
Yes.
Okay,
yes, because different solutions might have different structures. That's why it's a project-based modification. Okay, let's open up our Visual Studio solution to see our new project. Yes, can you see my projects here?
Maybe you can scale a bit more. Is that possible?
Yes, it's possible, but hard.
Okay.
Do you see it now?
Okay, that's fine now.
Okay, so we have several projects inside our application. I'm not going to explain all these in details, but ABP Suite will create entities, JavaScript, TypeScript, or Razor pages in different applications, different projects here. ABP Suite will also create your unit tests for the new entities. I will skip this magnifier tool because it's hard to see my screen. And also, first, I'm going to build my database. The DB Migrator project is used for database migration. If you don't have the migration in your local database, then it will create your new database. If you have made changes, then it will update the solution, the database, according to the latest migration. That's it. I will close this and let's see our new database. So it's bookstore. And we have many tables predefined. These come from the application template. So each different module has its own database tables, and they have their own prefixes, like a payment gateway starts with pay, and SAS module starts with SAS, like this. Now we will create our own entities, and we will see the new tables here. So minimizing this, setting the web project as startup, and then let's check the initial UI, the vanilla template.
Albert, while waiting, we can have a question. The question is like, will you create projects based on MyUI with Blazor? Currently, if you are asking for mobile, currently it contains a React Native application user interface. For the long term, yes, we will try to provide a MyUI option for the user interface, especially for the mobile.
Okay, then this is the login screen of our application. Admin, and my password is the default password, this one. This is my default password. I already saved it in my browser. And we have a home landing page. You can customize it. You can delete the page and add your own home page. We have a dashboard here. You can add your own dashboard. And some other menu items like tenants, additions, identity management like users here, roles, and other fields. So our new entity will come in the end of this menu provider. Now I will stop it, and I'm going to start creating my entity. First, we will start with author. Let's see the author first. Author will have name, birth date, and active properties. This will be string, date, time, and boolean. Let's open up again. So my entity name is author. The other fields are automatically generated. The plural name is used for collection names. This is the database table name. You can change it if you want any other thing. This is the namespace. So this is the root namespace. The author's namespace will append to the root namespace. So this is the namespace of my entities. And there are several base classes in ABP Framework. These have different features. And I'm going to select the full audited aggregate root for author. And also we have different primary key types, integer, long, GUID, or string. And I will leave the primary key as GUID. I'm not making a multi-tenant application. That's why I will keep it unchecked. And I'm going to create the user interface. Also, I will create the backend. And I need the database migration, and also I will let Suite to update the database as well. And also Suite will create unit and integration tests for my author entity according to the property types. Sometimes you may need to write API endpoints where you will not need a user interface, then you can uncheck this option. So these are optional. Let's enter.
Alper, one question is, Alper, there is a question. Can you generate entities from existing tables?
Yes, you can. So for this one, we have.
For this demo, we will not show it, but yes.
Yeah. I'm going to show the user interface of this. So load entity from database allows you to connect 5 different database provider: Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, PostgreSQL, and SQLite. Once you connect one of these databases, it will list all the tables in the specified database. And when you click the OK button, it will generate the user interface from your existing database table structure. So yes, there is this feature.
Now we are creating properties of the author.
Yes.
Yeah.
So first property is the name of the author, and this is a string property, but there are many options for properties. I think all the C# properties are here. So the name property will have minimum and maximum length. Like I want it to be minimum 3 and 100 characters. This is my first one. This is the second one. Birth date of the author. The birth date might be date time option, and let's enforce the user to select the birth date. And then I'm going to create the active status of the user. So it should be a Boolean. Yes, this one. That's enough for the author entity. I'm going to create. So Suite is creating our entity, our repository, domain services, application services, permissions for this entity, object mappings, creating unit tests, creating MVC pages, CSS, JavaScript files, and adding it to the MVC navigation menu provider. And this is the migration step. We are waiting for the migration. This is Entity Framework core migration. And I think it's already done. Let's see it from Visual Studio. So in the web application, I can see the authors folder, and inside the author folder, you can see all the CRUD pages here. The create model, the JavaScript, edit model, JavaScript of our index page. And also you can see the DB migration here under the migrations folder. So our author entity will have app authors database table. The app is predefined in the ABP application. You can change it if you want any other thing, or you can delete it. It's for organizing the database tables, nice and good. So I didn't make any database migration step, but Suite had it for me. So when I refresh it, I should have seen the authors here. Maybe it's small, but do you see the?
Yeah, I can see it's small, but it's detailed. I think we can skip.
Okay, so the authors table has this name field, and I entered a maximum value of 100 characters. So it's also applied to the database table field. Birth date is date time. Active is bit because I chose Boolean. And other fields are coming from the base class, full audited entity aggregate root base class. So let's see the new page. I'm clicking F5 to open the web browser. And we will be able to see our new page. That's located in the end of the menu items. This
I
is
think
our,
we can change its order later in the code.
yeah, we can change it.
The menu item order. Okay.
Yeah, the authors page is completely generated from ABP Suite. So this is the data grid. It has paging. Also, the search has a basic search and also detailed search where all the fields are inside. Let's create an author. So my author, first author, this one. So you can choose, I'm going to write it like this. Let's make it active. Now any menu, any record has been created. I can edit it, or I can delete it. Let's enter other author.
Let's see the validation, Alper. If you leave and leave it empty and save.
Or we can make like we have a minimum 3 characters. As you see, the validation is also working. When I enter a value out of the required values, and it will warn me. So the validation also works here. Okay, our first entity has been created successfully. We can also check out the search. As you see, it's also being filtered. Now we can create the second entity, the book entity. I'm stopping the application and then going back to Suite. Here. So to enter a new entity, clicking this button and new entity here. My second entity will be book. So let's look
Alper,
at the,
can you make it bigger for the browser?
this one.
Yeah, I think that's better.
Okay. So the book will have title and page count and price, string, int, and float. So the first one is title. It will be string and minimum 5 and 500. And my second one is page count. And let it be integer. And minimum, a page count must be minimum 10 pages and maximum like this one. And we have price property, price of the book. This can be float. Now we are going to make it a one-to-many relationship with author. So I want to pick an author while creating an entity. That's why I'm going to create a new relation to the author entity. This will be one-to-n, one-to-many relationship. When I click the entity, I see here my previous entity is created with Suite. I choose the author entity here, and I'm going to choose a string property from entity to be displayed while I am picking from dropdown or other components. This will be the name entity, and that's it. So we have different options for UI pick type, drop down, a simple drop down like this one, or a model where if you have many items, like over 100 records, you can choose model because there is a search and filter option in the model. And the type ahead option is suitable where the users may know the values of the items, like cities. Because if you are selecting from the list, it's always easy to type and find it. But for this option, I'm going to pick drop down. But if you need any advanced fine tunes, you can come up here and choose some different options here. But for this one, I'm clicking the OK button, and that's it. Now, let's see how it looks like. So the other steps are very, very fast, but the Entity Framework Core migration step, it's related to the Entity Framework Core's migration. It's building the project, creating Entity Framework Core migrations, and applying it to the database. That's it. So let's see if we have the new table here. App books. Yeah, I see it here. I'm going to use magnifier tool again here. So app books have there is title, page count, and price. It also has a foreign key to author with author ID property name. So you don't need to create foreign key again because ABP Suite has done it for you. Let's quit from magnifier. And
Alper, can you increase the font size for Visual Studio?
yes.
A bit more, please.
Can you see it? So
we had a good comment about that.
Yeah, sorry for it. Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. So the books, this is the Entity Framework Core migration class. So you can see the migration class here, and then I'm going to show you how the new page looks like. Okay, we have the books here. It's same as our author page. So title, page count, price, and we created an author relationship with the book. Let's create a new book. So this is book 1, which page 100, the price. And authors are being listed here as drop-down list. So you can choose from the list like this. And you can also edit. I will create another book here, book 2. And the author 2 will be the author of book 2. Again, you have advanced filters here for your author entity. So when I click author 2, it automatically filters. And the other fields are also working as expected. So we have created the book entity, author entity, and finally, we are going to create the reader entity. And while creating a reader entity, we will use a custom enum here, the gender. So for this one, I'm closing the window again. Coming back to ABP Suite and creating new entity, reader. So the reader will have name, surname field. It will be string like the others. And email address. The email address will be required an email validation. So I'm clicking email validation checkbox. It will force the users to enter a valid email and a gender selection. So I want the gender selection to come from an enum. That's why I open the Visual Studio and create a custom enum here in domain shared class. Create new enum here. It will be gender. Okay. The first item can be unknown with 0 value.
Can you increase the font size, please? Yeah, that's better.
Okay, this is my custom enum. So I expect the suite to find unknown male and female options and then show it as a drop-down list in the UI. I am clicking copy full path and I will go to suite, choose enum. Here, I will browse my enum file. And when I open it, Suite understands the enum namespace, enum name, and also the values of the enum. So it will generate the JavaScript proxies for this enum. So we have completed the properties, and we will have many-to-many relationship with the book. That's why I click at navigation collection button here and choose the book item. As a display property, I will show the users the title of the books. Okay. And that's it. We can click generate button. And we have to wait a little time for database migrations. By the way, we can open here with magnifier tool to see it clearly. I think it's finished. Let's refresh the tables. And we have readers here. Name, surname, email address, and gender columns have been created. And we have a join table with readers and books, and it's called reader book table. And here we have reader ID with foreign key and book ID with a new foreign key to the book table. And let's check the user interface. First, I need to close magnifier tool. Then we can see here the reader files are created in all layers. Here as well, reader app service. We can check out this application service. So it gets readers from the database here. This page is generated by ABP Suite. So you can always customize it. You can write your own code here and change it. There is no block for that. But when you create a new page, when you create the same entity, it will definitely overwrite this. So that's why you need to copy your custom changes if you want to keep them, or you can create partial views, partial classes to persist your custom code. Let's start the application and see our new reader page. So it will come up in a few seconds. As you see, we have created 3 pages, and one page like took maybe 3 minutes. This is the readers page. Let's create a new reader to see how it goes. Name and surname, reader 1. Email address, I'm going to enter an invalid email. So you can see that this is also being validated. The gender field is generated from the custom enum. So you can see the enum values here. And the reader has a book relationship. It's a many-to-many relations. So I can pick multiple books here. So this is the type ahead component where I click the button, and we can filter it by typing the letters here. I can add multiple items to my reader entity. Let's click it. I will create a new one here. You can delete, and also you can filter it. Or enter an invalid to see nothing here. Lastly, I will show you if I customize my code here, like I can come here to reader page. Here, this is a custom generated code. Let's add our custom code to see if it works. So I will create a new div, and let's make it alert, warning, and let's warn users here. Don't forget to send an email after registering a new user, a new reader. So as the generated code is in my project, I can modify it. Okay, you can see my custom code here. I think I'm all.
I can add 2 notes, Alper. Thank you for your great demo. First note about the order of entity generation. You should care about the order of entities. For example, here we have created the book first, then created author and reader. So the relation is important. Master table or master entity should be created before the detail entity. So in this way, you can easily bind relations, create relations. If you create the detail entity before the master, then you have a possibility to regenerate the detail or regenerate the master entity later. So you don't have a loss, but following the right order would be easier for you. The second note of me is like the purpose of ABP Studio, ABP Suite. ABP Suite's purpose is to create one-time code for you. That means it creates all the code from database layer to user interface layer, just like a handwritten code with best practices and high quality. From now, after the code generation, you should continue to development yourself. You can customize however you need, however you like, and so on. But the tool's purpose is not to regenerate the code after for a while, because if you regenerate the code, it will override your custom chains. So ABP Suite is not a low-code tool or no-code tool. It's a helper tool to bootstrap your CRUD pace and to gain time at the beginning while creating a standard CRUD page. Then you are fully customized.
Thank you.
We can go to questions, Alper, I think.
Yeah, okay.
I
You
will
can take the questions.
I will show the questions. Just 1 minute. I'm going from the first question. I would like to know it's possible to add a Blazor project to this project. I think it's just you can add from Visual Studio, or you can create the same project again in a different folder and copy the Blazor project to your existing project. I think it can be a simple workaround. I can go to other question. One question: does the suite CLI? Alper, you can read and answer your question. The question. I will select the next one.
Okay. Does the ABP Suite CLI need to be the same version as the ABP set? Yes, that's an important question, I think. ABP, not ABP CLI and ABP Suite should be the same version, but ABP Suite must be the same version with your ABP project. That's very important, because each ABP Suite version is designed for a custom version, for a specific version. That's why it must be aligned with your ABP project. Also, if you want to install a specific ABP Suite, you can install it by writing the version parameter to your ABP Suite command like this: ABP Suite install version like 444. This will install a specific version. So you can, if you are using different ABP projects in the same computer, you may need to install it the specific version according to your project version.
Okay, we can go to the next question. Is ABP able to utilize non-relational database management system data, for instance, connecting to other business applications via REST, OData, and so on? Actually, ABP Suite can generate code from existing database table for a relational database, yes, but it also, as a primary working style, it creates the source code from scratch, like you define entity properties and everything. So it can work with MongoDB, for example. But if you're asking if it can read the entity fields from an OData resource or a REST resource, no, it's not possible yet. A question is like whenever Microsoft release Blazor, all the features are already available with ABP Framework and ABP Commercial. So a question like, generating code based on MyUI. MyUI is on our roadmap for not only ABP Suite code generation, also for ABP and ABP Commercial integration. Especially for ABP Commercial, we are thinking to create a fully integrated mobile solution. The current React Native also works well, but actually for .NET developers, it would be better to go with MyUI. But MyUI is already not fully released yet. It's on release candidate, I think. We are following the project. You can answer, Alper.
Can I keep backend UI and customize only front-end UI? Yes, you can. If you uncheck the backend UI option from ABP Suite, it will not generate it.
Yeah, even if it generates, you can later customize everything. Another question is about Leptonics. Alper.
When will it support Leptonics MVC? Leptonics is in beta phase. That's why it's not supported by ABP Commercial templates right now. But once it becomes a stable version, ABP Suite will be creating pages according to Leptonics.
Actually, I can add more here. ABP Commercial doesn't support is not a good definition, I think. It actually supports, but it is not installed by default. For example, if you follow a few lines of configuration, I think we have documented it. You can switch your existing application to Leptonics. And also, all the code generated with ABP Suite should be compatible with Leptonics. We may not have tested it well, but ABP's templating system allows you to generate code that works in multiple different templates. So the right answer can be, yeah, it should be working. But it's, I think it's released yesterday, the beta version of Leptonics, and we are still testing and working on it. Is there any UI installed with payment module? Payment module have two types of user interface. The first type is the user interface that the users are making payments from an MVC UI. And the second part is administration UI. It allows you to report the payments made by customers. So there are two types of UI installed with the payment module. Alper, can ABP Suite currently generates MongoDB code? I think it should be.
Yeah, there is MongoDB support. MongoDB is supported out of the box, so you can create navigation properties for MongoDB as well.
Okay. Yeah, short answer is no, but actually you can regenerate your project in another folder and copy the mobile template to your existing project. It's easy. Alper, does it support binary fields when selecting property type for an entity?
Like bits, bool.
Yeah, bit array, for example.
But it doesn't support binary fields.
I think we can do that, I think. Okay, Alper, can you take note for that? We may work on in the next version. A similar question from Corey Francis. Alper, is it possible to change the 3000 port that's used by ABP Suite?
Sorry, for the previous question, I should have checked. There is this byte option here.
Not byte, but byte array.
Byte array has, yeah, but we don't have support for byte array.
Okay, I think we should work on that.
The problem here, there will be no UI for byte array.
Yeah, we leave the UI to the developer. One question, Alper, is it possible to change the port ABP Suite running on?
Yeah, you can. Actually, it's not magic, but I'm going to show you some configuration.
Yeah, if it's easy to show, you can. Yeah, can show.
Okay, let me check if I can find it easily, but you can definitely do it. I need to find the installed location. We can skip to other questions.
Yeah, I think you can say it's just possible. I think it's inside the place where it is installed. One question is related to how to create a new property to identity users. Yes, you can create, and it's already documented. I think you can find in the documentation. If you can find, just ask a question on GitHub or ABP's support forum. One question about editable, inline editable data grid. For that question, there is similar questions. We are using a library, actually. It's not a library of ABP Framework. We are using data tables library for MVC UI and different kind of libraries for other type of user interface like Angular and Blazor. And these libraries has a lot of features for data tables. For example, if you check its documentation, you will see that it supports inline editable feature. So you can check its document and implement it for yourself. Did you find?
Can you show my screen?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have found it. So all the .NET Global, .NET Core Global tools are installed in your user's profile under .NET. I'm not sure whether you can see the small screen. .NET Tools Store, and there is Vola ABP Suite. And inside the version, there is also another Vola ABP Suite. And when you go into this location, you can see ABP Suite code here, not code, but the binary files. And there is app settings JSON of ABP Suite. I'm going to show you the settings of ABP Suite. The first option is the startup URL of ABP Suite. So you can change it here.
Okay, that's great. We have a few more minutes. Alper, the last questions. A question, what about security if you use ABP Suite? Any required to implement? Actually, when you create code with ABP Suite or when you install a new project with ABP Suite or ABP, all the security problems are solved already, as we know. You should care about security for your own code. One question about, can we add multiple navigation properties for an entity, Alper?
Yeah, you can add it. There is no limit for adding navigation properties.
Okay. Many-to-many, yeah, we saw that many-to-many table is automatically created in the SQL Server. It has two fields for one for each table, and I think it's using composite primary key, Alper. The both cases are together are primary keys. Anyway, the question is, can we add additional properties? The answer is simply yes, because all the code and tables and everything generated by ABP Suite is for changing later by yourself. So you can change whatever you like. Can enable for? I think
I can answer.
The question is, can we generate code for microservice template?
You can create CRUD pages for your microservices, but for that one, you need to add the subservice of your microservice to the ABP Suite. So once you add it, it will behave like an ABP project, and you can create your CRUD pages inside that. Yeah.
Okay, last two questions.
Yes, we can. In the
Can you
newer
show the
version,
log, please?
yeah, but in the newer versions of ABP Suite, we added a new button here to show the logs folder, but it will come with 5.3.0. But for the old versions, I'm going to show you how you can find the logs.
I can see Alper now.
Yeah, I'm going to show it here. So in Windows, it's user profile. You can add %.
Can you copy it to a Notepad++, for example, to make it the size bigger?
Okay, let me show it from the Notepad.
Yeah.
So this is where the ABP Suite logs are stored. I'm going to copy and show you the logs here. So these are the ABP Suite logs. Let me show you. Okay.
Yeah, we can see all the logs. And the last
Yes.
question, Alper, is there any price for individual coders? I see there is a price for 3 developers. Yes. It's a question for ABP Commercial license. Yes, we are providing a personal license for individual developers. Just contact with info@abp.io. And I'm taking Bige to say goodbye. Yeah. Okay, it's
Bige,
all.
you are muted.
Yeah.
Second time that this happens. Thank
No
you
problem.
for joining us today in this ABP Suite webinar. I'm going to leave the info@abp.io and here. You're always welcome to contact us via info@abp.io if you have any questions after this meeting. So thank you. Have a nice one.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys. Thank you.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you all for watching. Bye bye.